We have a 57-year-old male with relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis. He was diagnosed with this 15 years ago. He was recently in acute care for pneumonia, where he received a 5-day course of IV antibiotics before being admitted to acute intensive rehab. So some of his background: he's single and he lives alone, but his sister is close by to take care of him, and he also gets a home health aide during his exacerbations, so he's not completely on his own. His home is fairly easy to get around. He's got one step to get into at the front, but he has a garage entrance where he has a ramp. So some things that you're going to see with him is a wide-based ataxic gait, some dysarthria, so he's hard to understand, bilateral tremors. He also lacks some insight, so he can be pretty euphoric at times, and he's also can be pretty depressed at times. He's got moderately impaired endurance, so he works for about 10 minutes before he requires a sitting rest break. He has moderate extensor spasticity, some loss of proprioception, especially in his ankles. His upper extremity strength is fair to good, and he has some moderate lower extremity, bilateral lower extremity weakness, especially seen at his hips. So we are going to address that later. His sitting balance, statically he's good with his eyes open. With his eyes closed, he had a few tremors. Dynamically is not so great. He's able to do some small weight shifts before he loses his balance, and if he had his eyes closed, his dynamic sitting balance was very poor. He lost his balance quickly. His standing balance is alright. He needs minimum assist. For dynamic standing balance, he does require a bilateral handhold, and he also tends to lose his center of alignment when he's standing, due to some trunk ataxia at times and some tremors like that. So for self-care, he does require a bit of adaptive equipment for his grooming, for his bathing, dressing. His toileting, he is a min assist because he loses his balance. Transfers, he has minimum contact assist, and ambulation, he's minimum contact assist with a walker. He's independent with his wheelchair, which he uses if he's going over 150 feet. So the first couple impairments I chose to focus on was his loss of ankle proprioception and his poor sitting balance, his inability to weight shift. I think they're all related to each other. I chose to work on those impairments because of his limitations in being able to dress and toilet himself independently due to his loss of balance. So to work on that, we're going to have him seated with his hands on a ball in front of him, and he's going to roll the ball forward and then to the left and then to the right. I think this is going to work on some weight shifting in there. Also, when he's seated on it, when he's seated and he's rolling, he's going to get some good ankle motion too. So I think that'll help a little bit with that proprioception there. But mostly we're looking at his weight shifting while he's sitting to improve that balance. So a couple other impairments I chose to work on was the weak hips that he has and his inability to maintain his center of alignment. Why we're choosing to work on those is because his standing balance is important. It'll help him to ambulate better, it'll help him to transfer better and just be more independent. So we're going to really focus on that as well. To work on that, we're going to put him in the parallel bars. He is going to have bilateral handheld support, and we're going to do rhythmic stabilization at his hips. So by doing that, we're getting some weight shifting in there. It's going to also strengthen those weak hips that he has. So we're strengthening, we're working on his balance. Also, we're going to have a mirror in front of him with a straight line down the center so that he can keep an eye on that center of alignment. If he starts to lose it, it'll be a good visual cue for him to kind of stand up and work on that center of alignment. So that's what we're doing with him today. That's our patient.